Welcome back to Long Box Diving, where we pull comics out of the long box. So this is one of the comics I picked up last week. If you saw our live stream, you actually saw this one, and I finished reading it, and I've really enjoyed it. Here you go, Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, #2. This comic was a lot of fun. Now the story is pretty self-contained in this issue, although there is an overarching arc storyline. And it sets off with a premise, right? Doctor Strange is turned into a rat, and his body is being controlled by Dormammu. Pretty straightforward. Dormammu took over Doctor Strange's body. Doctor Strange is now a rat. He has to find a way to turn himself back or defeat Dormammu, and that's the plot, right? Pretty straightforward. Not a lot to have to worry about, which is fine. This is our hero. This is where they start off. This is their obstacle, and that's the goal, right? That's where we want to get. He has to overcome the obstacle. Basic storytelling, and it works, right? This is a good story. Like, you could watch a cartoon of this and be completely fine because it's a decent story. And it's really cool. Because it is very sci-fi. It is very fantasy. It's okay with reaching into stuff that's not necessarily classic Marvel superheroes in capes, right? So Doctor Strange, a rat, we can actually play around with ideas. Doctor Strange, as a rat, spoke to frogs in frog language, right? It's a cool idea. You wouldn't see it outside of something that's very fantasy, and he's able to use it to help further his goal. And it was a neat little joke, because the frogs are all like, "Kill the invader! Oh, if only we had our champion!" I'm pretty sure that's Frog Thor. I'm almost certain that's Frog Thor. "If only we had our champion, but we must fight in his memory!" And Doctor Strange's like, "Hey, don't hurt me, I'm just a rat." And he's speaking in frog language. "Please listen to me." And I love that bit. That's just, it's fun. And I think that's what comics are supposed to be, is good story that's just fun. And that was it. So Doctor Strange has a goal, and he's working hard to get to this goal. He's calling for help, and help does eventually arrive. But I do have to say, I really like that Doctor Strange here is played as the chess player that's always 2 steps ahead. Even though his body's taken over, he's going to his mansion to get a talisman, because he's pretty sure Dormammu, in his arrogance, left these talismans. Sure enough. But Dormammu knew Doctor Strange would come back for the talismans, and Dormammu planned for that. Oh! And of course, Doctor Strange is a rat holding a talisman. What can that do? So, Dormammu just kills Doctor Strange. Except he doesn't, because the talisman turned him to light. And it's always that one step ahead. And it's Doctor Strange is prompting Dormammu to do things that is going to help Doctor Strange. And it's very much egging the dude on, egging Dormammu on. Come on. Go ahead, shoot me. Go ahead. And it's very fun, right? And, like, I'm not going to give the impression that it's self-contained, right? It's not. That's very important to know. This is not a self-contained comic run or arc. #1 ties directly into this, and this one is going to tie into the future, because Dormammu's not gone, 1, and 2, he got a bunch of beings to swear fealty to him. That's important, because that's setting up an obstacle for later. It may not be the next comic. It may be the comic after, but Dormammu was able to use this to further his goals. Overall, a really enjoyable comic. A really good. It's just a good story. It's nothing mind blowing. The speech, the writing, the characters isn't anything crazy, but it's good. It has your act structure, and it's just none of it's like really cringy or bad writing, which is what I want to see. I don't want to see bad writing. So, I mean, overall, this is a recommend for a comic. And I have the next ones. I don't have #1, but I do have a 3 and 4, I think. and I'm gonna review them at some point because I enjoyed it. It was fun. Um, that said, I think I do prefer having the tied-in comics where issue one ties directly into issue two and they keep together. Um, but to have a single one-off, mostly self-contained comic is what comics do best. It's the bread and butter of comics, right? Here, the villain of the week. It's the standout ones are the ones that can tie things together in a really good story arc. Um, but most of the issues are like this, and this is what I expect to see from most of my comics. It's just a solid story that ties into the next comic. There's things I'm wondering about. What is Dormammu planning? What is he gonna do? Clea's back, right? If you watch some of my earlier ones, this is after that whole event. A bunch of stuff has happened, right? Clea is now the ruler of the Dark Dimension. Cool. And there's a lot of story plot there. So recommend. I'm gonna keep this fairly short. I'll see you next time in the long box.